Joining us now is the former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Fox News contributor John Bolton. Mr. Ambassador, let's start with you, your general impressions. I like a lot of things about that. I don't like nation building. I don't like an unlimited budget. I don't like others not stepping up and doing their part. I don't like the fact that other presidents have telegraphed even pulling out, and then people just have to sit and wait, and then they know they're free to go back to the nefarious activities. Your thoughts generally?
Well, I think this is a dramatic change from the Obama administration. That's probably the most important thing, and I think that comes through clearly in a lot of respects. I think much of what the president said is exactly right. He's not going to have artificial time limits. He's not going to negotiate with the Taliban until presumably they have been sufficiently beaten back so that they negotiate on our terms. And he said to the troops that they'll have the necessary tools and the right rules of engagement. Nonetheless, I still think there are a couple of critical points here where, while the speech rhetorically was fine, we need to see how it plays out. Number one, Pakistan, which he correctly brought up as one of the changing that policy, one of the pillars of his new policy. Look, I think Afghanistan will be won or lost in Pakistan, and I certainly think that more pressure on the government there because of its support for terrorist groups, giving them safe haven in Pakistan is welcome. But let's be clear, Pakistan is a nuclear power, and to see them tip into terrorist control themselves would give us Iran or North Korea on steroids now. And there's one word missing from the president's speech that I think should have been there, and that word is China. China made both North Korea and Pakistan nuclear powers. Pakistan wouldn't have this capability without China. China has, as part of its One Belt, One Road initiative, basically increasing its influence in Pakistan dramatically. They put a lot more money into the country than we do. And I think it's time to say to China, if you want better relations with the United States, we have a lot of issues, but one of them is helping us convince Pakistan to give up the Taliban safe havens, give up ISIS and al-Qaeda, get them out of the country, and really seriously renounce terrorism. I'd like to see more of that.
I agree with you. There is one good piece of good news as it relates to the issue of China, though, Ambassador, and that is when you really think about it, remember what China has been doing with North Korea. They launched first. They will not be there for them. Remember, they canceled the coal shipment after the president of China met with President Trump. So apparently they have a good relationship. Apparently 30-minute meetings went on for 3 hours. So there seems to be some hope there. But I want to go over some of the president's words. You know, and he talked about winning a war, obliterating the enemy, empowering generals that are on the ground and soldiers in the field, that you can't make these decisions from Washington. You're not going to telegraph what they do. These partners must contribute, and we're going to blow them away. And one of my biggest complaints, and he addressed this tonight, is Vietnam, 58,000 of America's greatest die, and we pull out because politics, you know, we begin to view war through the prism of politics. The war in Iraq and Afghanistan, they both were equally politicized. You cannot politicize war, nor do we need to be involved in nation building. But if we want to defeat radical Islam, and we see all these attacks, we better take it seriously there to prevent it from here. I think it's a good strategy.
Yeah, remember, Barack Obama said in the war on terrorism, we're not going to have something like the end of World War II with the Japanese surrender signed on the bridge of the Missouri. Of course, actually, it was signed on the main deck of the Missouri. But
and then he put handcuffs on our soldiers.
Yeah, victory is such an old-fashioned concept, and I think Trump has reversed that. I do think in his rhetoric tonight, though, maybe from his advisors, there's still the implicit argument that we're fighting in Afghanistan to defend Afghanistan. That is incidental to the reason we're there. We're there to protect America from the terrorist threat. And that's why when you say there's no blank check for Afghanistan, certainly in terms of nation building, I absolutely agree with that. But we cannot believe that our defense ultimately rests on Afghanistan, because if that's the case, we've got real trouble.